financial compatibility is more than earnings. Actually, I think what's more important is how you manage that and the values that you associate with your money, because you can be dating someone who's earning £100,000 and you think that is fantastic, till you find out that he's £150,000 in debt and he's trying to therefore live off the little £20,000 that you bring into the relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? Welcome back to the Financial Style on New Style Radio 98.7 FM. The time is just gone 20 to 11. Still to come after 11 o'clock, we're going to be talking to a young filmmaker who has used the time in the pandemic to create a project. And I'm going to call this a passion project. It brings together her amazing talents and her passion for sport. So we're going to find out more about that after 11 o'clock. So you're not going to want to go anywhere. But for this morning's 5 in 5, where we talk about 5 things in about 5 minutes that could, or give you 5 tips in about 5 minutes that could benefit you moving forward. I want to talk to you about financial compatibility. How do you know if the person that you're dating or in a relationship with, whether you are financially compatible or not? And what's the point of knowing that? What difference does it really make? Well, the reality of the matter is that more than half of divorce, when asked for the reasons, they cite that financial compatibilities or money issues, arguments over money, become the primary issue that become the demise of the relationship. So how do you stop that from happening in the beginning? Because you guys may look together, may look nice together in a selfie, but it doesn't mean that when you take your bank accounts together at the bank that it's all going to work out well. So number one, if your other or significant other refuses to talk about finances, this is a massive red flag. For anybody who doesn't want to talk about it, you'll see that there's maybe a reluctance, and it tends to start around the initial dating stage. Do you know what I mean? So, it could be something as simple as just, what are your aspirations financially, or how much do you earn? I'm not saying that's a first date question, by the way, or even a second date question, but you get where I'm coming from. But if you see that that person is massively vague, and that's what it usually is, it's vague. When they're very vague, typically there is some kind of issue potentially around money, and that could be a warning sign that you need to look a little bit further into it. The second thing is if they lie about money. So again, for me, this sits with either not wanting to speak about it or is very vague around it. Lying is a form of financial infidelity. So if you've got someone who is either spending money and they're not telling you if you're already in a relationship, or if you're dating and you're finding that they're telling little lies, oh yeah, I'm doing really well, things are great, and then he goes to pay for dinner and the card gets declined, that sort of thing. That again is another warning sign that there could be some issues there. The third thing, and this one is a big one, okay? If this person has no assets, despite the fact that they've been working consistently for a period of time, nothing to show for it. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not always obvious for all people. So, for some people, they may have property. For some people, they may have business. For some people, they may have investments. For other people, they may have other things that are indicative of what their asset base is and basically where they've been spending their money. But if you see that somebody doesn't seem to be investing or doing anything with their salary, and on top of that, doesn't really have any kind of asset base to show or real stability, but and worse, if they're earning decent money, that again is a red flag that something else could be going on that you don't quite know about. If you see them frequently borrowing money from you or from parents or other friends, again, red flag. Could be suggesting that there's financial issues there that they don't necessarily want to talk about. And borrowing can come in lots of forms, because sometimes I think people will think, oh well, if the person borrows it from me but they give it me back within a couple of days, it's not a big deal. But even if it's something as simple as oh, I tell you what, can you just lend me 50 quid to cover this bill, and I'll give it you back in a couple of days. Even that, if it's a frequent thing, then yeah, I would say, eyes prick up a little bit and be like, hold up a second, what's going on over here? And finally, if they will follow investment tips blindly. Okay, so you know when someone hears of the latest thing and they're kind of like, yeah, I'll do that, but isn't doing any due diligence, isn't asking any appropriate questions, isn't really delving into maybe the ins and outs of the investment. Or for me, I call this one financially educationally lazy. So i.e., they want somebody else to do all of the work for them. That probably means that they're going to want you to do all of the work for them too when it comes to managing the household finances, and those sorts of things may not flag up straight away as a red flag, but definitely are a yellow flag when it comes to how somebody is handling their finances. Here's what I would say. The reality of the matter is, my mom always used to say, every dog has his day. So the reality is, you could meet someone who isn't in a perfect financial situation. They may have some debt, they may have some difficulties, they may have some challenges that they are dealing with. But one thing that I do believe is that success leaves clues, and patterns give you an indication as to what's going on. So if that person is having a short-term problem, but generally speaking, overall, they've been managing their finances generally okay, you'll be able to see that materialize pretty quickly. You know, they ain't going to be borrowing money consistently for 6 months. They ain't going to be looking at you saying, oh, I can't afford to date, in which case you shouldn't even be trying to date, but that's a whole different conversation. Like, you will see what that person is doing to pull their socks up. So it's not to say that they should meet you in a space of perfection, but they certainly should be in a space of awareness and know what's going on. And in addition to that, what I will say is that financial compatibility is more than earnings. I think a lot of people think, well, if I'm earning 30 grand, he needs to be earning 50. If I'm earning 60 grand, she needs to be earning 80. Whatever. It doesn't matter, actually, whether your earnings are the same. Actually, I think what's more important is how you manage that and the values that you associate with your money, because you can be dating someone who's earning £100,000 and you think that is fantastic, till you find out that he's £150,000 in debt and he's trying to therefore live off the little £20,000 that you bring into the relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? So again, all of these things are the sorts of things that really we do need to consider, because particularly if you're out there saying that you want to build an empire with somebody, you can't build an empire on debt. Okay, you can't build a castle on sand. So just be mindful of that. Few points to consider if you are thinking about entering a relationship or tying up your finances with someone. And I'll be honest with you, I really do believe that if you cannot if people I speak to, I'll put it to you like this, people I've spoken to, and I'll say something to them and they'll say, oh no, there's no way I'd have a joint account with him. Let me tell you something. If you're not willing to share your money with somebody, you should really question whether you should be sharing a house or even a bed, because there's a lot of things that come with that, and I think there's lots of considerations that go on with it. Anyway, if you've got anything you can add to the mix, let me know. Send me some information to share your thoughts and feelings on the subject. You know, I'm not a pessimist. I feel like everybody can pull themselves out of a difficult situation, but if all you're hearing is smoke machines and pipe dreams, then this is when you need to know that he needs to take the little shekels that he's got, or she, and they need to keep it pushing and keep it moving. In this case, it wouldn't be what Steph London is saying about can't let you go, because actually, bye bye. We'll be back with Money Matters after this.